10. We start tonight with the breaking news from the past hour that no oil is flowing into the Gulf of Mexico for the first time since April. The apparent good news from BP came after it closed the valves on a new cap over the leaking oil well. Well, the company says so far so good. The cap has completely contained the flow, which has been polluting the ocean and coastline in the worst offshore oil spill in US history. The news came just before US stock markets closed, sending shares in the company soaring. Well, Sky's US correspondent Robert Nisbet joins us now from Washington. The people of the Gulf Coast won't want to celebrate prematurely, Robert, but just how significant is this moment?
This really is significant, I think, for the morale, not only of the millions who live in that area, but also the hundreds of people involved in the cleanup and the dozens of people involved in trying to stop it. It's extraordinary, I suppose, when you consider that it's the absence of something in this picture which is really making the news. But you see occasional flurries and clouds of perhaps silt coming off this cap, but there is no oil for the first time in 3 months issuing from it. But as you pointed out, this is all part of a test. This is a temporary measure, and this is what's happening. BP's new capping stack contains 3 valves, which during testing have been shut off one at a time. Now, all 3 have been closed. The pressure is now being measured. They're looking for a high pressure reading. 8,000 pounds per square inch would be good. Low pressure would mean there's still a leak. But there are still fears that a build-up of pressure could cause leakage elsewhere or even create a fresh leak from the sea floor. But at the moment, the signs are looking really good. But they will be analysing that data and making sure this isn't like a cork in a champagne bottle, that they can contain and keep that cap on there for the time being while they still work on the final solution.
So when will BP know if this works? And if this isn't the final solution, what is?
Well, they've been talking about how long this so-called integrity test will take, and they've said anything from 6 hours to 48 hours, so 2 days. The chief operating officer of BP has just been giving a press conference within the last few minutes, Anna, and he's saying that this is a great site, but it's far from the finish line, and they need to be deciding how long they're going to keep this sealed. So eventually we're probably going to see, perhaps overnight, maybe tomorrow, more oil gushing out again, and then they're going to start closing the valves again as all part of this operation, just to see how healthy the well is. As for the permanent solution, now we have to go back to this relief well that is being drilled. There are 2 of them, in fact. They've suspended work on that while they take these integrity tests to their conclusion. The first one, and this is the good news, is just 5 feet away from the casing of the well. They say they need to drill another 30 feet, and by that point they'll get in the position to fill the well with cement and heavy drilling mud, and they hope that will permanently plug this well. But for the moment, really good news coming out of the Gulf, and the first time we've been able to say that for 3 months.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at the contrast as well from today to earlier in the week. In fact, the last few months, as you can see, oil gushing from that wellhead for, 87 days, Robert? What sort of pollution have we seen? What has the damage been to the ocean and the coastline?
We've seen a considerable amount of damage. There are millions of gallons of oil swirling around the Gulf, and we saw for ourselves the effect in Alabama, in Mississippi and Louisiana. They've all noted oil there, even tar balls as far away as Texas. So this has affected a considerable amount of shoreline. But it's not just that, of course. It's also the perception of the pollution that is keeping tourists away from the area. And this is a tourist haven for many people, especially in the panhandle of Florida, Pensacola Beach, often seen as the Blackpool of the United States. They've seen their tourist numbers plummet. So a number of people have been seriously affected by this. And of course, there's now been established this independent fund, which is being independently monitored with lots of money in it. People are applying for the money that they think that they may have lost through the damage to their businesses.
Robert Nisbet for the moment. Thanks very much indeed. You were looking